Good afternoon, all. So this picture that you see here is from a ledger in the 1800s. Any guesses around what is this and why is it relevant to the topic at hand? Henry Poole and Co. Anybody here who they are? Okay. Yeah. So they were actually the first bespoke tailor on Savile Row, which is supposed to be, that famed street where all of these very distinguished bespoke tailors in London. This is in 18th century. Uh, if this picture is from one of those ledgers maintained during that time, if you that contains the list of names of people, their specific requirements, their fabric preferences, any handling instructions. So much so that I was very surprised that if you were to give any cloth that is supposed to be stitched by them, they can actually validate it that it was actually stitched by them and for whom and when, etc. That's probably the amount of detail that had gone into personalization. Uh, I'll take one more example closer home. I think these pictures you'll all be familiar, right? His Highness, the King of Mysore. The person on the right, Nawab of Lucknow. The hint is food. Any guesses on to as to why it matters, why personalization and how it's connected to food? Okay, Mysore Park. Any specific reason as to why? You're right. You're right, sir. So again, this is the chef. Again, these are examples where somebody is interacting with a customer. In this case, the king or the royals, etc. The king wanted something very unique, and the chef noticed that, hey, why can't I make something unique to the palate of my king and do that? The one on the right is the Nawab of Lucknow. His chefs noticed that he was getting old, losing his teeth, and a foodie cannot live without eating good food. So this is how the chefs actually created galaush kebab, which is that very very tender kebab which melts in your mouth. You don't need to eat, but you will have all the tastes. Of course, given that now you really can't personalize because there's just so many of customers that we all have, and the journeys that they crisscross are huge. I mean, you acquire customers, they may purchase, they may not purchase, they come back, they may not come back. Lot of touch points. We at Titan, we not only focus on the transactional touch points, but there are a lot of interaction touch points. Has somebody come to you for service? Has somebody called you for something? Has somebody gotten the eyes tested but not made any purchase? So here, how are you capturing all of these touch points? How are you leveraging all of these touch points? There are times where let me ask this question. How many of our customers who walk out without making a purchase? Any guesses how many of them actually come back and make a purchase? Any guesses? 5%, 10%, 20%? 10, okay? 5, 6%. Okay, any other? In interest of time, it's actually, in some brands, it's as high as 40 to 50%. We were curious as to why is somebody coming and not buying, but then coming back after long. So when it comes to jewelry, there are auspicious days when you want to buy, but you come in just to actually have a look at the products. What are the kind of offers that are available? You leave a note telling, hey, I'm looking for this or that, and you come back at the time that you think is right. So how are you capturing all of these leads? How are you harnessing all of these leads? Is something that I want to touch upon. So now again, these are a lot of touch points that people leave as we are interacting. The table on the left is, the column on the left is more about the variables that I have anyway. I don't need to. A lot of focus is on the variables on the right hand side, which is, can I infer a customer's preferences based on their purchase habits? I have only one loyalty card, but based on the product portfolio that they have purchased, is it a family customer? Is it a married customer with kids? And therefore, can I tailor my products offerings accordingly? If a customer is buying a tail-end products, it says a lot about him or her because they have deep category affinity. If a customer is buying higher now again, design is a very hard thing to describe, but now we have tons of image algorithms which can tell you whether it's a classic design, whether it's a contemporary design, jewelry inspired, geometric designs, etc. So how do you infer all of these? Communication. There are some customers who respond to WhatsApp very well, some customers who respond to calls very well. So how do I prioritize the channel through which I reach out to them to communicate what I want? This is a study done by McKinsey many years ago. Again, why personalization is a big deal. We saw that yes, it is important. As customers, we've grown to the fact it's almost like table stakes. I need to personalize as much as possible. Therefore, so that the customer feels that it's relevant to them, and it's also very timely. What we have also seen, again, a question. I've written favorite sales staff. Uh, if a sales staff quits one of our stores and joins a competitor, any guesses how many customers is that staff taking away with them? 20%, 30%, what percent? Yeah, it's actually 60 odd percent. So it's a very very crazily scary number, and therefore, how do I ensure that when I am having interaction from my company going out, how do I know that this person is actually talking to the customers that she or he has the greatest relationship with? How can I assign a secondary sales staff person if this person is attracting, how do all of those tastes get captured inherently in a subtle way? Of course, on system as well. So therefore, what is the favorite product of the customer? What is the preferred category? What is the preferred salesperson? All of that is very, very important. Now, I will run you all through a couple of examples. Now, because personalization is not about personalizing just for the customer, it is for the merchandiser, it is for the employee, it is for all stakeholders. So, we'll touch upon some examples that are there in our company in terms of showcasing all of these. This is one journey for a typical customer. They buy, some of them start with gold coins. Um, they also are surveying what kind of products they have. Then they gravitate towards a gold chain because that's a fairly simple, you don't lose much making charge. Then you actually upgrade to another gold product. You probably then buy a diamond product. It's a bit like people who buy gold tend to buy gold. How much ever money you may be willing to spend, it's just a refined or an acquired taste that there are some people who would buy a lot of gold. There are some people who would buy only diamonds. There are very few people who buy both. Whether it comes to food, whether it comes to movies, we see that people, we like to stick to the category that we love. But the beauty is in how can you get people to migrate across categories so that they're experiencing all that you have to offer. Plus, also you're making them buy some profitable products of yours. So this is one, again, one more example to say, how can I customize the communication to customers so that I capture when they buy, what are their preferences, and what is the right time to buy? Because you have a festival on offer, there are products, there are new collections, and I also am giving them discount, plus there is a birthday coming, so how do I personalize the message? This is something for watches. Uh, Again, you have all kinds of customers. There are people who would buy premium products. There are people who would buy affordable products. There are people who would buy only new collections. So how do I cater to all of these customers? And this is again K-means segmentation. The earlier one, I'll probably talk about this here. And these are some examples of different creatives. Again, how do I customize my creative so that everybody feels it's relevant? There are some times where when customers are giving signals, we need to act upon them very fast, because otherwise then the opportunity is lost. It's a very simple concept here where when we send a lot of WhatsApp or SMS messages, or even email messages, uh, if the customer interacts with any of them, which is they click on a link, they open or they download a video, how do I capture that as a signal in my CRM system? And that message goes to the store staff, and it gets bumped up as a high priority lead, and they make a call. Huge uptick in the response rate and the purchase, the ticket size. Again, a lot of classification models are used to see who is that customer who is likely to make an upgrade or to may tip over if I were to cross sell a product. This is a case of a customer having high affinity for jewelry but low propensity for high propensity for jewelry as a category but low affinity for diamonds. So therefore, can I build a model to predict who are the customers who have high propensity, and can actually give them a nudge, either it's a gift voucher or a call from the store, and therefore get them to buy. This has helped us again accelerate a lot of diamond purchases because they come at the right time, that it's their birthday or anniversary. They also spend a lot. Here is a sort of a description of how it all plays out. There are customers who buy a certain product, and there are certain triggers. Uh, this is a little more different from customer journeys. When we launch different products or collections, we also analyze them as to whether they're helping us acquire new customers, whether they are reactivating dormant customers, whether they're helping us upgrade some of the existing customers into higher value purchases. That sort of helps us understand or give signals to the merchandising team whether this is a collection which should be refreshed and brought out again. Also, different in fact, in Bangalore also, what you'll see is that different stores have different catchments also, because we have the data of the customer in terms of what is their profile, what is their spending power. I also talked about what are the design preferences. That sort of helps us curate the assortment for different cities and different catchments within the same city. Typical conversion rates, the more personalized your nudges are, the more personalized your interactions are with the customer, the better is going to be the response rate. For our top customers, we would actually host events which is curated to their tastes. For customers whose anniversary or some events are approaching, how do I again personalize that message? You would have heard the word personalized, propensity, modeling a lot. All of this is about how do I codify rules, how do I create rules so that I'm either segmenting my customers and in some cases power of one. For example, in I plus, I have to take the power of one route because based on your power, based on your age group, and your recent purchase, I know when to call you for your eye checkup or even tell you about buying a second spectacle, because if you're a child, the chances of you breaking your spectacle and therefore having a second spectacle is very important. Till now, we've talked about personalizing for the customer, but can I personalize for my dealer? Can I do it for my franchisee? This is one example of the one on the left. It's a mix of using a lot of LLMs. Why do I need LLMs? Because while I have a lot of transactional history, it becomes cumbersome for the store staff to actually go through all the history. So can I use an algorithm, in this case GPT-4 was used, to actually go through all the history and sort of summarize it for the store staff to say, hey, this is the kind of customer. And then I also add in a propensity model. Here, in this case, a basic logistic was used. It is to say, okay, these are the kind of categories that the customer would be interested in. Resonate was used as an image algorithm to say these are the kind of designs that this customer would like. And so I sort of give a one pager to say, hey, this is what you should read before you speak to the customer. The one on the right is the standard recommendation algorithm, which is the objective is therefore actually about cross-selling. I mean, we all in India, we know that a wedding purchase is actually a trousseau purchase. There is Mangal Sutra, but there is a ring, there is a lot of bangles that are bought, there are chains that are bought. So in the store, it gets very, very difficult. All of us would have experienced fatigue during shopping for wedding. How do I enable my store staff to create a tool that once they know that this is the kind of bangle that they bought, what are the matching earrings, what are the matching necklaces that will pair with them? Uh, Automating insights is something which we are using in a big way. Uh, a lot of dashboards, reports, a lot of it is sent across the companies, and we know how overwhelming it is. However, if I can again use the power of LLMs, again here GPT was used where because consuming tables is very, very difficult and cumbersome. However, if I were to just write three, four bullet points telling the store manager this is working, this is not working, and these are emailed automatically. Again, a good use case for agents where something is scanning a lot of data and it's formatting all of this report and sending it on an email automatically. Another application which is voice of the sales associate. Uh, so instead of waiting for a typical quarterly or a monthly survey to ask for feedback, the store staff can just speak to a bot and tell that end of the day that hey, there are issues. Either I've not received material on time, I've not received products on time, or it could be about customers are not coming because of so and so reasons. Now, all of this voice gets translated or transcribed to text. Again, that is a typical text classification where I group into different themes and these go as action items. Again, this is a case of how can you distill insights from your own internal community and pass it back to the different stakeholders. This is another example of how we use a lot of feedback for merchandising enhancements. There could be areas for improvement in size, in depth, in terms of range, in terms of new products, new collections. How do I use text classification to summarize and distill all these insights and action items? A lot of times, okay, in international brands, what happens is we retail a lot of Titan watches, but we also retail a lot of international brands. Tommy, Guess, Fossil. The lead times are very, very long for these watches. They work on global norms. So just because I ask for them, I'm not going to get these products. And generally in fashion, lifestyle, looks matter. Sometimes a particular color is on trend, sometimes a particular design is in vogue. So instead of waiting or managing within the timelines that my international merchandisers are going to do, we see based on the current looks and my portfolio of watches that are already available in stock, what are the similar watches? Again, here using ResNet, ImageNet, and two, three other image classification algorithms. I also use an attribute-based matching algorithm wherein it's based on the price band, the material, the strap, give weights to different algorithms and see if there is a particular model or a look that is out of stock, what are the closest other watches? I could also personalize calling scripts for my staff. A lot of attrition is there. In retail, you have almost 40% attrition sometimes. And it's important to codify all of this knowledge. The first slide where I talked about how can I capture, and also how can I also make it as vernacular as possible so that the staff or the telecaller knows exactly what to call the customer, what to pitch, and speak in a language that they understand and therefore communicate properly. Summing it up, there are certain actions and outcomes that I want to drive, which is either you want the customers to engage as much with you as possible, you want them to purchase. It is aided by systems in place because now I have easy ways of integrating systems. I have easy way of analyzing or recommending products. That sort of forms the middle layer. A lot of it is orchestrated by the data, the ML rules, the different algorithms that are placed. We see it as a continuum. There is LLMs, there is ML, but there's a lot of rules, there's a lot of even simple crosstabs. How do these all come together? How can I embed intelligence into tools? How can I connect different systems? How can I pass on all of this information to the store staff, to my employees, to my customers, and therefore delight them as much as possible? So, thank you all. Open to questions.